Welcome back to Rise and Shine with Ty. Let's go ahead and get into the reflection of this. So again, I had told you all that um, I I didn't go to summer camp after I met my abuser. Um, I stopped modeling because I had just graduated. Um, I just basically put my life on the back holder and got pregnant, started my family, and it was a lot of verbal abuse. And once we finally got married, I do want to say this before we get started all the way in. God will send you messages. God will send you people to give you warnings before you do something. There is a saying that, what is it, 3 warnings before destruction? I really believe in that now because I got several warnings from people that I did not know, people that did not know me. But God sent them to me to warn me because I was not using my listening ears when God was speaking to me. I went downtown to get our license. The lady would not sign the paperwork for me to get married. I was 17, he was 20. So I had to have someone sign for me. Um, they would not accept my birth mother's ID. And I think she just didn't do it because I was 17. When I went to go and legally change my name, there was an attorney there, and he told me, whatever you're about to do, God is telling me to tell you not to do it. But I had already had my mind made up. We was one child in. And I went on and made that decision to move forward with the marriage. We got our marriage license that November. We were supposed to have got our license like in August. We got it in November. And it was crazy how people was coming to me to tell me don't do it, don't do it. Whatever decisions you are making right now, do not do it. My brother, his wife at that time, our daughter, went to the courthouse. My sister had gave me one of her outfits, and I was sitting there. I'll never forget. I was sitting there. I was stuck. I did not look left. I did not look right. I looked straight ahead with my body planted to the chair because something in me kept yelling, and the voice just got louder and louder and louder. Run, run. And that just kept growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was just stuck. I just could not get up out the chair. And I remember hearing him asking me, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yes." And I didn't even look at him. I did not look to my right. I just looked straight. And they called us to get married. I got up, we went in, we said our dues, and it was like a ton of weight just fell on my body. And I was like numb, but I could see and hear everybody, but I was so numb. I remember him jumping around the courthouse. We married, and him asking me, "Are you going to take my last name?" And I was like, "Yes." And he just jumping around. "She gonna take my last name. She gonna take my last name." And we didn't bring no cameras. We didn't take any pictures. It was like, did this just really just happen? So my point in just saying all of that is pay attention to those signs, those warnings, because When I tell you I went through hell, I went through hell with this man. Like, I went through hell. Yes, it started out as verbal abuse. Once we moved to the Carolinas, that's when it got physical, very physical. And I've seen abusive relationships, and I just did not believe that I was in an abusive relationship. You can even tell me I was in an abusive relationship. Because, for one, I'm a firm believer in, if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. So I just did not think or believe that I was in an abusive relationship. My idea of a woman being abused was her getting beat and sitting in a corner crying. That's what my idea of an abusive woman was. So, or abused woman. So I did not believe that I was in an abusive relationship. And I couldn't go back home. I didn't feel like I could go back home. So when people say, why did you stay? Why did you stay? I stayed for many reasons. I didn't feel like I had a supportive tribe. And I did not feel like I had a supportive village. So it's important to make sure that if you have a friend or family member that's in an abusive relationship, sometimes you just need to be a listening ear. Sometimes you just have to sit quiet with them and just know, let them know that you are present and that you have their back and that you're there for them without judgment. Because when you're in it, you're already embarrassed. You're already embarrassed that you took this abuse. And then being me, not even knowing that I'm in an abusive relationship, but I don't want to go back home either to get away from him because I want a family, something that I did not have. I didn't have a mother, father. I wanted my kids to have that experience. I wanted them to have their dad and their mom in the same house. I did not want to be a statistic, um, as labeled as a single mom. I didn't want those type of labels or on me. I didn't want to be a part of those type of numbers. But the abuse got worse. It got worse. It got worse. It got worse. It got worse. When we moved back to Illinois, it was still bad. It still was horrible. Now I'm dealing with verbal abuse and physical abuse. Now I just want to break away. I want to get away because everybody knows what's going on. So what I do, I'm moving to Texas. So I decided to move to Texas. He decided he wanted to move to Texas with me. We was not together, but we was together. We was married. I'll say that. We was married. And we talked and said that we was going to work on our marriage and the abuse was not going to come to Texas. Well, guess what? That was a lie. We moved to Texas. Not only was the abuse bad, the cheating was bad. And it's like pick your devil, sir. Pick your devil. So we dealing with abuse, we dealing with cheating, we dealing with verbal abuse, emotional abuse. Don't want me to work. Every job I get, I have to end up quitting. Well, he got me fired from too. Um, but lying, saying, well, she's lazy, she don't want to work, and all this other stuff. So his auntie ended up coming down to Texas, living with us. And she got to see the things that I was going through. And um, that's when a lot of my light bulbs started going off. So when your friend or family member is in an abusive relationship, you have to let them decide when it's enough. When their light bulb goes off, they will know, hey, this is not right. it's time to go. A few things happened in those moments. When his auntie came down, his mask came off. Father of the year was gone. Husband of the year, I'm a provider. I do all of this for my family. All of those things was shifted. The mask came off. So she got to see exactly what I was dealing with, what I was going through, and she tried to help me. She talked to her nephew like, hey, she could do this type of job. She could do this type of job. She gave him like 10 different jobs that I could do. And the isolation, he wanted me isolated. He didn't want me outside. That's another thing abusers do, to keep you confined where you're not around your family. You're not around your friends. Don't want you to have friends. Don't really want you to talk to people. So she gave him all these different jobs I could do, and he came up with 1,000 reasons why I could not work those jobs. Like seriously, like no, you can't work those jobs. Um, we end up getting into an argument, him and I, and that's when the light bulb just, man, I can't even say it was a light bulb moment right now. It was like somebody hit me in the head with a frying pan. Somehow we ended up in the closet, and I'm looking around and pulling all the clothes off the rack and pulling down the sheets and the comforters. My mama bought this. My mama bought that. My sister gave me all these clothes. It was one thing in that closet that I didn't get from a family member. And that was a pair of jeans that his auntie had bought me 2 days before. And it just really hit. I don't need him. He's just present. And half of the time, even though he's here, he's not present. So when that light bulb went off, I don't need him to survive. I had housing, I had food stamps, and the kids had Medicaid. I did not need him. And we was 5 kids in at this point. I did not need him. Why is he here? That was a reality check. I enrolled in hair school, cosmetology school. I thought that was going to be my way out. Two things happened in that process. My daughter got baptized, and I got invited to a tea at a church. At my daughter's baptism, that same voice that was in my head, in my spirit, telling me to run, calmly said, that is not your husband. We was at a baptism. My daughter, our oldest daughter, and second to the oldest daughter baptism. We was at a church that was inside a hotel, so we was outside at the pool, and that's where they was doing the baptism at. And he was on the other side of the pool talking to one of the ministers, and I looked up, and that voice was so calm, and I wasn't even afraid. Like I didn't even get afraid. I just was like, okay. The voice said, that is not your husband. And I just looked at him and I said, okay. I looked across the pool at him. And the tea that I went to, I think that's when the fire broke loose. Um, this tea was so powerful. I do not know what conversation I had with God that day. I do not know what conversation. All I remember, it was a song playing and they kept saying, hold on, hold on, hold on. That's all they kept saying in that song. And I have spoken in tongues before, but not like that. And I do remember saying, for how long? How long am I to hold on? How long? And I cried. Oh my God, I cried. And after that tea, the weight that I felt come on me when I got married, it was gone. It was gone. I did not care what this man did. I did not care who he slept with. I did not care if he came home or not. I did not care. And I'll tell y'all how much I did not care. His grandmother passed away. He was messing with a white lady at his job. I did not care. He asked me if she could go to Chicago with him. Yeah, sure, why not? Take her up there. He took her to Chicago. When I tell you his mama called, a few other people called. Why you send this man up here with his mistress? I don't care. I do not care. I did not care what he was doing. I did not care. Like when you don't care, like I don't give a fuck. I did not give a fuck. I gave zero. I did not care what he did. He could sit in that garage and talk to whoever he wanted to talk to. I did not care. I knew I was in hair school and I was going to be out of that marriage because I was going to have my money saved up for me and my kids, and we was going to be done and gone. Um, Before all of that happened, I wanted to downsize the house that we were staying in because we were staying in this big, huge, beautiful house, and I knew I couldn't afford that house by myself. So found a one level home, 3 bedrooms, really four, because they had a back room, and moved in there. And I knew it was something that I could afford once I get out on my own. I didn't know 4 months or 5 months after that tea that all hell was gonna break loose. So we got into an argument over money. He wouldn't give me no money. His mom sent him money. He wouldn't give me any money. I needed to go to hair school. I called my homegirl up, told her I needed money. She was an accountant. And I knew I could get a few dollars from her. He got mad because I wouldn't give him no money. He got the food at the gas station. Sat on top of the car, calling me all out my name, all kind of stuff. Very embarrassing. And those were the type of things that I had to deal with in that relationship. But I don't want to go into all of the physical and verbal abuse because that's not what I'm trying to relay here. But he sat on the car, he acted a fool. And that was like the breakthrough. So we're about to go through the breakthrough. We went through the reflections, we went through the whys. Now we're gonna go through the breakthrough. Um, this is when the breakthrough happened. After he acted that fool, I went to school. That next day, my friend called me and she asked me did I want to go to the courthouse with her because she had some business that she had to take care of the courthouse. I told her give me 10 minutes, I'll be outside because she lived like 4 doors down. And I got in a car with her. I had this big folder because I pulled all my paperwork. Everything that I had in that room, I pulled it out that had anything to do with welfare, housing. I brought it all down to the courthouse with me because I was filing for a divorce. I was done. I was done. And I knew that he wasn't going to take it lightly. So I was afraid. I was scared. I was like, God, how am I going to show him this divorce paper? How am I going to get him to sign these papers? I was terrified. But we at the courthouse, she didn't believe I was going to do it. I went down to get a waiver. I said, I'm in an abusive relationship. I need to get out. They gave me a waiver. I paid, I ended up paying $63 to get divorced at that time. And that $63 was to get him served. Um, I went back home. I had the divorce papers under the pillow on the bed because I didn't know how I was going to present these divorce papers to him. I was terrified. Um, he came home. Now, remember the day before we got into this big argument, so he's still on 10. He's still on 100 doing the most. Um, at this point, he done called the pastor and told them that I was holier than thou and that he wasn't going to kiss my ass.